good morning, everybody. Dale Robbins, my co-host of Northwood Replay 2019, Rich Violette, and Coach E.J. Arnold of the Northwood Timberwolves 2019 football team. It is great to have you here for Northwood Replay. Well, the season on paper to start this thing back in September had 11 dates. We have played 10 of those dates, so this being episode 11 leads us to our final regular season game for the Northwood Timberwolves as we are coming off a loss down in Grand Rapids, Caledonia, to be fair, to Davenport University this last Saturday. A 21-14 loss to Davenport, moving us to 1-9 overall. We are 1-6 in the GLIAC. Davenport writes their schedule at 4-5 overall. They now move to 2-5 in the Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. And, Coach, we went down and saw a bit of a subpar game following the great win that we had over Northern Michigan 2 weeks ago. It just never seemed in the 7-point loss in Davenport that we got our fire lit. It seemed like we had some opportunities, and again, we've not been referencing the win-loss so much of the campaign, but I'm looking at 5 games of the 9 that end up in the loss column. We are 2 minutes left in the game of 5 of those 9 games, and we couldn't get this to fall our way either. Your thoughts on Saturday and that loss to Davenport?
Yeah, I think that's a very fair assessment to say we didn't have a fire lit underneath us. You know, I thought early on we kicked the ball off to them, and our defense does a great job getting a 3-and-out, and they hit a bad punt, and we got great field position, and we were kind of fired up there, but then our offense stalled out, and our offense struggled throughout the day, Davenport being a very good defense, but we were in an in-between state where we had to go for it on 4th down too long to kick a field goal, and we didn't get it, and that let a little bit of air out of the balloon. Sure. And then the rest of the day, it was just kind of everybody looking around to somebody else saying, is he going to make the play? Is he going to make the play? It was just a very odd game in terms of emotion and energy and stuff like that. And, you know, the message to the team was, you can't be a guy that waits for somebody else. It has to be if it's to be, it's up to me mentality, and we lacked that a little bit during the game. And I don't know if it was because of the win and a quote-unquote hangover or anything like that. I just think we were a little flat, and we have to learn from that on how to handle our business coming out against Tech this week.
Yeah, and that was one of my questions is I know you don't have the magic ball, but how do you not come out flat in those situations? And going back to what Dale was saying, I started looking, and, you know, on the season, we lose to 3 to Tiffin. We lose by 3 to Ashland. We lose by 7 to Hillsdale in overtime. We lose by 7 to Davenport and 10 to Findlay, which I thought we controlled the whole game.
Absolutely.
And, you know, things a little differently. You're sitting at 6-4 instead of 1-9. And so my question really is, what's the message to the team this week about the season? Is it brotherhood and friendship and lifelong memories? I mean, what's your message? Because it's not a 1-9 team.
Right, and that the reality of it is our record is what it is, and so we don't hide away from that. We definitely tell our guys, look, you know, we're close, but that doesn't count in the game. So the last few weeks we've kind of tried to put the record aside, even when we were playing Northern, and not worry about those kind of things. It's about how we handle ourselves. And, you know, this week after another disappointing loss, you know, the guys were devastated on Sunday. It was a very quiet room, very emotional in a negative way a little bit, just because we knew we let one slip away. So the challenge to them this week was it's you versus you. What do you play for? Your pride is at stake here, not worrying about the record. The chemistry on the team has been phenomenal. They have never wavered. Our guys love each other. They've been great, not just the seniors, but everybody to a man, from number 1 to number 120. We've been awesome in terms of the chemistry and everything. We just haven't made the plays and things like that on the field. So we're just trying to make sure that our guys know that there is a lot at stake, that this is an important game, not just for the seniors, but for the program. To go out with a win is important for us as we hit the trail in recruiting. It's important for the program itself and for those young guys to get a win at the end of the year to move them forward with some momentum going into the offseason.
I'm thinking back, I remember the last game of fast pitch softball I played vividly for the seniors, who Saturday will be their last game. The season-long record may not have a whole bunch of impact over time, but you're going to remember the last time you dressed, the last time you took it, the last time you called the coin, the last play you made, the last impact. So at this point, you are taking 9 of your current program, and they will not be on the field for Northwood. But then you've also got another 70 youngsters who's going to suit up with probably another 20 guys they've never met at this point, as your hard part of the season truly begins Sunday morning during the recruitment phase for 2020, right? So I'm thinking you had, going back to Saturday's game quickly, your defense I thought was outstanding. You had 4 defenders in double digits with tackles and assists. Dimitri led the world on Saturday. He had 15 tackles. Tackle and a half were for losses. He had a couple of pass breakups. Santiago, 13 tackles. Noah Brown finished with 11. And the youngster Dante Banton, who we had here just a week ago, finishes with 10 tackles, 2 of those for a loss and a sack. So you had a component of your team that was the special teams and offense that kind of neutralized the good job you were doing against a pretty elusive offense of Davenport. They like you said a week ago, they have some athletes and they covered some territory.
Yeah, I thought our defense throughout the game played extremely well. They gave us a chance to be in it, and again, we've got the ball at the end with the chance to go down and tie it as poorly as we played at times. I think the one thing our defense does have to work on, and Coach Luke knows this, and they've expressed it, is just third downs. That's as well as we played, we weren't able to get off the field in crucial situations. And it was a game of field position where they went for it on some fourth downs and things like that too. But as well as we played, there's still room for improvement. They know that in the crucial times, we got to get off the field and get our offense back out there. The time of possession was very, very poor in terms of our favor. It was about 15-minute difference, so that didn't help us at the end of the day.
We were only down 14-7 at half, right? And Dale asked me at half, he said, Coach, what adjustments do you make? And for the first time, I didn't have an answer. I'm like, well, you tweak, because we didn't play other than offensively, we struggled in the time of possession, but defensively, I thought we played pretty well. So I guess at halftime, what adjustments did you make?
The adjustment that we talked about was mentality. It was just a matter of getting motivated and not waiting again for somebody else to make the play, but go make it yourself and everything. And, offensively, it wasn't a lack of the game plan, I think. I think it was, we just made some mistakes, some critical errors that allowed their defensive line to get penetration and disrupt Nate throughout the day. But I think it was a simplistic game plan. We just have to execute better.
I think the early 3-and-outs and the interception and the lack of offensive production in the first quarter especially is what hurt us, and that's because we didn't come out ready like we had been, most recently.
Exactly.
As we've proven all season long, even in a loss, we have highlights to go to. So let's do that, Coach. Let's take a look at some of what we brought home from Davenport University a week ago.
Yeah, again, our defense, you talked about playing well. There's Tim Jackson and Jordan Ackland getting there in on a sack. Here, Nate Gomez, one of our screenplays to Jalen Lewis. On a third down conversion to keep us going. This was a scoring drive for us that we made some big third down plays here. This is Al Spacuzzi catching a ball on a busted coverage, and Nate and him doing a great job of taking advantage of the busted coverage there and getting us some great field position. And then Nate comes back here and trusts his wideouts and throws it up to Brian Keith. It was great to see him going up and doing that again like he had done early on in the year, and those are the plays that we got to continue to make. Cash Goldsmith here on our goal line package getting in. And again, 14-7, but even then we have to have a little bit more emotion about us. We need more excitement in the game. And you talked about Dimitri; he was everywhere in the game. A fourth down stop right there. He did a great job here again on a third down. This is one of the times we do get a stop with Dimitri with the pass breakup in coverage. He played extremely well. I thought, like you talked about, our defense played good, and now it's a fourth down stop here, and our defense does a great job getting penetration, and Dante with the sack on fourth down. But we got to make plays on offense. We got to convert on these things, and we get down here, and Nate does a good job eluding the rush and getting down, but we got to come away, with points on a more consistent basis. We had a chance before the half, and we didn't get it. This is in the fourth quarter here, where again he puts it up there to Al, and our receivers made some plays when given the opportunity. Again, they were too few and far between the plays that we made.
71 yards and a touchdown.
Here's Dimitri at the end of the game, and again, right there, we stop him on fourth down. We get the ball back here. We've got a chance. Here we run a hook and ladder play, trying to create some momentum at the end, and Christian Martinez does a great job going. But at the end here, you see Taj Leslie with the crackback block that's just illegal by today's standards, and that puts us behind the 8 ball. So again, that's about Northwood beating Northwood a little bit there, and we have to eliminate those critical errors if we want to be successful up in Houghton this weekend.
And not to mention, one score was taken off the board. We make a great catch down by the goal line. Unfortunately, we step out of bounds, and so it's called incomplete, and we don't convert. I think that's when we went for the field goal and didn't convert. So you take that off the board, or you put that on the board, it's Now it's a different game.
It's a different game.
You're right down that line. Was he out? Was he in?
He was out. That was a good call. I'll give him that
Because the official was right on that, right?
We figured that too because we were a long ways away, but we figured, well, you weren't too excited.
I'll give him that one.
Yeah. So we take a look at Nate Gomez, redshirt freshman. He gets his second collegiate start. He has a good day in the air, and he was rushed. He didn't have a whole lot of time to think about things. Very creative in that sense. He ends up with 147 yards in the air. He had the touchdown to Spacuzzi through the air, and he ends up with 41 yards on the ground. He's a creative young lad who makes something where there's nothing in some cases.
Exactly. He goes out there and makes plays on his own and everything. And again, you said it's his second collegiate start, so he's still learning and trying to absorb the game and absorb the playbook, and he's done a great job of managing everything. And I think, albeit a loss, the other day was good for him to get beat up a little bit and to see him get back up. He took a beating, and we got to play better up front on the O-line, but to see him get back up continuously and say, I'm good, that was impressive to see, and that sold a lot of guys on him as a leader of our team right now.
I'm really sold on Dante Banton, too. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially from his position, because that's a position, contain or spill. You're not getting a lot of credit a lot of times. 10 tackles, 2 tackles for loss and a sack. And week after week after week, he just looks like he's getting better and better.
Yep, he's playing like you would want a redshirt freshman to play right now at the end of the year. Guys like him and Nate and Cash Goldsmith, the future is very bright. And our D-line, I think our D-line as a whole has played better throughout the year. We're young. We've been beat up at places, but guys like Dante, guys like Simeon, and the guys on the interior, Darius McCray, Jordan Ackland, they're getting better and better each week. Now we just have to finish it this week and go out with a win.
Yep.
Are you healthy going into Saturday up north?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Good.
We didn't get beat up too bad in the Davenport game, just bumps and bruises,
Right.
which is natural for game 11. But we're feeling pretty good, and we'll take the 58 that make that travel roster. We'll leave tomorrow, and we'll go get a win.
I only asked that, Coach, because you guys have kind of come through that middle third of the season, and it was next man up mentality throughout. So let's go ahead and take a look at last week's results around the GLIAC, if you will, for us, CJ.
Wayne State with a big win against Michigan Tech. That puts them in a position this week. If they can get it done against Grand Valley, that Wayne State might sneak into the playoffs. They have a shot. Ferris State, Grand Valley, that sounded like a great game, like it always is. Surprising to see Ashland and Findlay, that score. Findlay did a great job controlling that game, and Ashland, who's kind of they've been close and won a lot of games, whereas we've been close and haven't pulled it out. But that one was a little bit surprising to see that. And then Saginaw, gets back on track up north against Northern Michigan and got themselves a win. So, the standings here, like I said, it's interesting to see Wayne State, after they had a little bit of a slow start this year, to pull their season together and have a chance this week if they can beat Grand Valley to maybe sneak in. And Grand Valley is in a must-win against Wayne State now that they have 2 conference losses. So, again, great parity there. And Ferris doesn't play this week, so their season's over. But they'll be in the playoffs, and they've done a great job this year. And it'll be interesting to see if Grand Valley can get in. They're, I think, at number 8 in the regional rankings right now, so this is a must-win for them. But, again, Wayne State might be able to sneak in as well. It'll be a very interesting weekend, to see what happens in the GLIAC.
Quickly before we break, to talk to one of your players, there is something at stake against with Michigan Tech, and they are 2-5 in the GLIAC. You guys are 1-6. We're going to try to notch that at the same as so we're looking to go 2-6 and bring them to 2-6. So, like, you don't need that carrot hanging out in front of you on a Thursday for Saturday. But there always seems to be something in this GLIAC that is to play for.
Absolutely.
And so that's that I know is your message, even in the cold outside. We'll talk about that a little bit. How was yesterday's practice for the boys?
It was cold but good.
Well,
getting them ready for the trip.
That's right.
I'm so glad they decided to heat the MCTV studios today, because these guys needed it. Hey, we're going to take you inside the huddle and put you right on the line of scrimmage. We're going to throw you in a defensive end position and introduce you to one of the starters for the Timberwolves. It's Simbo. You do the math, and we'll introduce you to him right after this word. Welcome back, everybody. Dale Robbins, Coach Rich Violette, and on the D-line, he plays the end of that D-line. I'd like to introduce you to number 56. He is a junior. He hails from Elyria, Ohio. His name is Simeon Lawrence, and you're familiar with him on our television and radio broadcasts as Simbo, a.k.a. Media Services Lawrence, and we've got him at the table here at Northwood Replay. It's good to have you,
Well, good
young
to
fella.
see you again, boss.
So you are in your third year at Northwood. You have been through the order of sitting back, waiting your turn. You got some snaps a year ago in 2018, and this year all of a sudden you find yourself as in the two deep. You're in the one slot, and that's despite you only having played 7 of the 9 games thus far, because you picked up that silly turf toe thing, and it ain't silly once you got it. Tell us a little bit, Simeon, about injury for a collegiate football player. Because you're in class, you're going to practice, you're working through rehab. There's a whole bunch of things that you're doing to ready yourself for football Saturdays. What kind of a tax does that put on you as a young athlete?
Well, I mean, the first thing for any athlete is, you don't expect it to happen to you.
Right.
And when it does, you're thinking, why me? And I think the biggest thing that helped me out is not to think, why me? And to think, like, okay, if I rehab the right way, we got the right trainers, I'm gonna get right no matter what. So I kept a positive mindset throughout the whole entire thing, and I had, at work, I had you, supporting me, making it a little easier on me on the job.
No way. Yeah, I love your boot. Way. You should see that boot. It goes with every pant he wore. Go ahead.
I had the boot and stuff, and just seeing the guys, being together, and it's just motivating to get back.
Sure.
And so it makes you just more hungry to get back. Seeing all the guys have all that fun without you. Yeah.
Simbo, let's talk a little football. 34 tackles on the year, having a good year. 5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Playing really well. Playing that either 5 or 7 technique. Most of the time 7 technique. But
yeah.
Can you explain the difference for the folks that don't know the difference between that and kind of your responsibility on the field?
For sure. Well, as a defensive end, you have your 4 linemen. I'm the one on one end, and you have the other one, Dante Benton, who's also very good on the other end. We most of the time just have contain. The difference in a 5 technique is, so say I have a tackle in front of me, I'm on his outside shoulder in a 5 technique. If we have a tight end on the line of scrimmage and we're in a 6 technique, we're head up on the tight end. And in a 7 technique, you're in between them. But one of the, our biggest goal is to make sure nobody gets outside. So
right, so you're containing outside, letting your backers and cornerbacks and stuff flow to the ball, right?
Yes, sir.
What is your biggest challenge when you're on the field? What do you feel your biggest challenge in your position is on the field?
Well, for me personally, I'm in a position where I'm supposed to be the tallest guy on the field. And on our defense, I'm one of the shortest. So, being like a 5'10", 5'11" with boots on, kind of defensive end, is always a challenge. But it's a chip on my shoulder as well.
Sure.
So, when I'm going against the big 6'6" guys, you have to work different leverages. It sometimes even helps with getting around the corner, or when I have a stunt inside. They have longer arms than me. I can get them off easier. So that's a big challenge for me, but I accept it every single week. So
I'm going to pull you off the football field for a second and ask you how to reboot a DMPS made by Crestron when a black. That's not true. I'm not going to ask you that. But I am going to ask you this. So you sniff out quarterbacks, and so many times you and Dante and you and your offensive or your defensive lineman are that close to disrupting and blowing up the quarterback, right? And you don't get him. Give me the celebration feel when you finally roll that boy into a cage, you chase him down, and you typically catch him from behind, or you get the good lick that you've been playing 50 snaps to get to him, and you get to him. What's the celebration, that the success that you feel in that moment for you and your defense?
I mean, to me, sacks break games, and I didn't really realize that major until this year, when we see what it does to a team, because, you have all the old linemen, feeling bad that they let their little brother down. Right. And then our momentum just rises. So, we get a sack, second down, first down, we're looking at the next play. Everybody's like, oh, it's my turn now. It's our turn. So, to me, one of the greatest feelings in football, a sack, but, hopefully we could, all get one this next game, get on that tech quarterback.
Well, you've certainly done a great job this year. The sacks are up greatly over a year ago.
Yes, sir.
So you guys are getting to the quarterback for sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We got 1 minute left, so football is about 48 hours long for you, 2019, before you start preparing for 2020. You are a mock trialer. You travel the country. You bring home hardware from those. You are outstanding witnesses. You bring home some trophies. Just quickly, in the few seconds we have left, Northwood's education. not only on the football field and in the classroom, but the clubs and organizations you belong to. Mock trial is a big part of your winter, spring getting ready. You geared up for that, youngster?
Oh yeah, super geared up. You know, I still talk. That's like my second family.
Right.
I still talk to them every day, and you know, I know the witness role that I'll be playing when we get back. We got a kidnap and murder case, so yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one. But you know, we start off by going to DC for a Gampty tournament, November 23rd. So,
yeah, that's next weekend.
Yep,
man.
gonna be in Washington, so that's gonna be great. But you know, it's like a second home almost.
All right. Hey, continued success on the football field come Saturday, and I will see you at work tomorrow morning at 7:30. So I'm excited about. No, you got to leave to go north.
Oh yeah.
You got your time in?
I think I did. Hey, take my schedule, somebody.
Simeon Lawrence, number 56, defensive end, the Northwood Timberwolves. Thanks for doing this, and it's always a pleasure every day when I cross your path. So we'll be back with Associate Head Coach E.J. Arnold, and we'll talk a little bit about the Huskies up at Houghton Hancock in Michigan Tech. Going to be a dogfight, the Timberwolves and the Huskies. We'll talk about it right here. Stay where you're at. Welcome back, everybody. Dale Robbins, Coach Rich Violette, and Associate Head Coach E.J. Arnold of the Northwood Timberwolves. We get to this point, we're going to do a quick check-in with Coach Leonard Haynes. I know that you're in constant commo with Coach. How's he doing, and how you feeling about where he's at?
He's doing a lot better. You know,
Good.
I think every day he's getting a little bit better, being able to manage, you know, what's going on with him. And we have a recruiting meeting on Monday of next week, and he'll be there and everything to make sure that we're organized with recruiting and whatnot. So he's doing really well. He won't be on the trip this week, doesn't want to get too far away from home and everything like that. Just more of a precautionary than anything, but he'll be back up and running next week once we get into the recruiting season.
Okay, very good. Continued prayers, Coach, and we'll talk with you soon. Let's talk the Huskies, Michigan Tech. It's the farthest you can go from Midland, Michigan, and not leave the Eastern Standard Time Zone. I'll tell you that. They're 4-5 overall. They're 2-5 in the GLIAC. You guys match up 1-9 overall, 1-6 in the GLIAC. Something at stake. What do the Huskies bring on their home turf, literally, in northern Michigan and Houghton Hancock in football?
Well, that being said, number one, they bring their senior day, so we know there will be some emotion involved, and Coach Olson's done a good job of kind of revamping the program after he took it over. So they're a physical team. They kind of run like the Wayne State Northern Michigan offense, where they'll use tight ends and fullbacks, kind of the smash mouth old school football, and their defense is very sound. They have a very, very good defense, really good active defensive line, so our offensive line has to make sure that we're on point this week and taking care of our running game, and obviously taking care of our quarterbacks and everything. But it's a good football team, and they started the season out very well, had a chance to beat Grand Valley early on, lost it at the end. A couple rough weeks for them, but this is definitely a challenge for our guys going up to Houghton.
You know, you went up there a year ago, same situation, senior day, right? Cold. Whatever you told your team a year ago, you got to tell them again this year, because it worked. So,
get out the notes.
Yeah, what's your feeling? I mean, what's your feeling about how did you prepare for this week, things like that?
You know, again, a lot of it after the disappointment of last week, we talked about pride and what's at stake. You know, it's easy when a season hasn't gone the way you'd like it to for guys to mentally fold and things like that, but our guys haven't done that. They've been very energetic throughout practice. We've been working extremely hard. We have promised them as coaches that we're going to come to work every day ready to prepare them to win, and now it's up to them to prepare themselves. There's a lot at stake here. They're, number one, pride is on the line. They've got to win this game for themselves, to a man, for the football team, for the seniors on our team, and things of that nature. And there's no tomorrow, so to speak, with it. It's the last game of the year. There's no need to hold back anything, the way we coach, the way we play. So our guys are ready to go.
You know, I was thinking about the seniors taking off the pads for the last time, and we're going to have that up there like we did last year. And Coach, maybe you don't want to share with us, but I know in the back of your mind you probably got something going, because you're always thinking about the kids and the team. And you know, do you have anything planned for when it's over, win or lose, and those kids are taking the pads off? Just some kind of memory.
We've been honoring them all week. We've been allowing the seniors to speak to the team throughout the week this week and just share their memories and advice for the young guys and everything like that. And I think the biggest thing that they've shared with them is to not take anything for granted. The time goes quick, and to make sure they respect the game and love the game the way that it's meant to be. Obviously, it's emotional for us as coaches to lose these guys. It's a special group that, you know, battled through a lot of things. So I think at the end of it, no matter what, it's just an embrace, a hug, and a tight squeeze to let them know that we all appreciate what they've done, but I certainly appreciate them more than I could ever express.
Real quick, they come after you. They got a lot of sacks on the year. Do they do anything differently? Are they bringing a blitz, or are they just doing it with 4 down, 3 down?
They run a lot more 3-down stuff than what they've done in the past. They do have a new defensive coordinator this year, Brian Thomas, who had been on their staff. He's their defensive line coach, now the coordinator. So a little bit more 3-down stuff, which is easy to blitz out of that. You know, you confuse offenses a little bit more by bringing pressure from different places. So it's been a point of emphasis for our offense this week to play with great eye discipline and see where the blitzes are coming from. Nate to make his reads quick, get the ball out of his hands and whatnot. But the best way that we can protect our quarterback is to have a solid running game. We got to get the run game back up and running this week.
Good.
A lot of guys playing their final football at the collegiate level on senior days all around the GLIAC. Coach, let's take a look at what's on tap throughout our conference.
Yeah, you know, Northern Michigan going down to Ashland. And again, you look at these games, the Northern Michigan game, the Ashland game, Davenport at Saginaw. A lot of that, again, is like us. It's for pride. It's a matter to get your record stabilized and go into the offseason with some momentum. And the interesting one, as I mentioned, is Wayne State at Grand Valley. Grand Valley is in a must-win situation if they want to get into the playoffs. And Wayne State, if they can win, and they haven't beat Grand Valley in 34 years, but if they can win and they get some help in the region, they might be able to get in at the end too, and that would be a very, very great season for Wayne State as well.
Well, it's amazing that you can have 11 Saturdays played, and it still boils down to the final 60 minutes on everybody's clock and what's at stake.
Absolutely, yep.
Including for us. Well, we've got a 1 o'clock kickoff. Again, that is Eastern Standard Time. Rich and I will be on the radio and on the internet about 12:45 on Saturday afternoon. You guys leave town in the morning.
Yep.
You're out of here just about the time the sun decides to wake up. You've got a bit of a stop at a fellow conference foe, letting you use an indoor house to do some walkthroughs.
Yeah, Coach Nystrom was great enough to let us use the Superior Dome to get out and do a walkthrough. And again, that just goes to the brotherhood of the GLIAC.
Absolutely.
You know, we're all competitors, but we all know what each other's going through. And for him to allow us to go into the dome and break the trip up a little bit and get our guys moving around, I think is going to be huge for us. And we appreciate what Coach Nystrom is allowing us to do.
Tremendous. Yeah.
Coach, we appreciate you being with us, you know, being out front. And great segments the last few weeks. We miss Coach Haynes for sure. Unfortunate what he's going through, but just wanted to say thanks for all your support.
Thank you, guys. It's been great.
Well, we're going to do it one more time. We're going to put a wrap on Northwood Replay a week from now, so we'll save that point for our tears and hugs for our audience, but we appreciate you all season long, too. 107.7 Saturday afternoon, 1490 a.m., go to northwood.com. Northwood Replay repeatedly on your charter channel for MCTV, and also our podcasts. We hope you're tuning in on that audibly as well. For my partner, Coach Rich Violette, and Associate Head Coach of the Northwood Timberwolves, E.J. Arnold, my name is Dale Robbins. This has been an absolute blast, but we're excited to tell you about finishing the year 2-1 as we take off to Houghton Hancock and beat the Huskies. We'll tell you about it next Thursday. So long, everybody. Have a great weekend. Go away mad. Go make a difference. See you later. Bye-bye.